All right, guys. So I want to show you something that I like to call a seller's open, right? So, or a seller's open house. We can call it any name we want to call it, like as long as it sounds really cool. Like I was thinking, we could call it an owner's preview, but I also like seller's open house, or but maybe just like an owner's preview. And what it is this, guys. So sometimes you guys are waiting to get an open house, or you're looking for somebody to give you an open house, and maybe there's not one available for you. And to me, this is another way for you to basically be able to do an open house in any neighborhood you want to do it without actually having your own listing in there, and then use that listing in order to get yourself a listing. So let me explain. So what you want to do is go into a neighborhood that you like on the MLS. So let's look for, let's say you live out in the Winter Garden, and there's this neighborhood you really, really love, right? So you go to that neighborhood, you go to that address in the MLS, and you go ahead and search that neighborhood for all the active listings. When you go into the neighborhood, what you're going to want to look for is a listing that is vacant, right? So somebody's listing it, the house is empty, and it's for sale. Okay. So obviously we want to pick a neighborhood that has a nice price point. I really like the price point 350 to 500,000. Like I love that price point. I think there's a lot of buyers in that price point, and obviously the checks are bigger, right? So pick a nice neighborhood that you like. And it doesn't have to be exactly those prices, but pick that neighborhood. And what I'm trying to do is get you to start doing these sellers open houses or these owners previews to have a reason to invite people in the neighborhood to come through, right? So I think the best way to knock on a front door is to have something to say besides, hey, are you looking to buy, or are you looking to sell your property or anything like that? I think you should go to the front door and invite them to something, right? That's the easiest thing you can do. You have something of value. And let me show you how you do that, right? So you go into that neighborhood. In this particular case, I went into some of the office listings, and I'm looking for a house in that neighborhood that's vacant, a house that I can easily go in there and show, right? That I can kind of take over that house because there's nobody living in it. It's vacant. It's the best kind of house to have, right? So sure enough, I went into our office listings, and I found out that our own Biagio has a listing in a neighborhood, and the list price is $408,000. So it kind of falls in that pocket that I really like. But the main thing I'm looking for in the listing is the house vacant? So as I scroll down to the house, I see, boom, right here, confidential info. The house is vacant. It's on lockbox. Okay. There's no sign on the house. Owner's motivated. This one happens to be a pre-foreclosure home. But regardless, it's a vacant home, okay? So you found a vacant home, and it doesn't have to be somebody in our office. It could be anybody, okay? So you find this vacant home that you like, okay? My suggestion would be that you would call that listing agent and say, hey, I'm going to be showing some people the home, from 10 to 12 tomorrow. So let's say it's a Saturday. So let's say you call the listing agent up and say, hey, I want to show some people the home from 10 to 12 on Saturday. I got a few people that will be coming through, but I'll be there for a few hours because I'm trying to get as many showings for this property as possible. Is that okay with you? Am I interfering with an open house you're doing or anything? And most likely they'll say no, and they'll be fantastic, right? Because, you're marketing their property. I don't see why anybody would have an issue with you doing this. But who knows? Some people might be weird about it, and they might say no. Guess what you do? You go to the next property and find somebody who's not freaking crazy, who wants you to market their property for them. By the way, you can do this with open houses as well. You can call other agents and ask them to do open houses on their property. This is something that one of our upline teaches, Brent Gove, and same thing, some people will be like, nah, that's not, cool with me, which is no problem. But you'll find somebody who'll be like, thank you for doing an open house for me, because they weren't going to do it anyway, right? So don't be scared to make these calls to the listing agents and just say, hey, look, I'd love to market your property. I'm going to be there tomorrow. Okay. So you found the house. We know it's vacant, so there's no issue there, right? It's not a big deal for the agent. It's on a lockbox. They don't have to do anything. You just give them a little heads up that you're going to be doing this. Okay. So then what you do is you go ahead and you make a flyer saying that, hey, you're going to be doing an owner's preview on Saturday from, 10 to 12, specifically for the owners in the neighborhood. So in the flyer, I would include that you're going to be giving them some information on what that sale of that property would would mean for their property, and you're going to give them some great information for coming. If you're smart, you probably get some cookies, or you probably get some refreshments and things like that. It's basically an open house, guys, for a couple of hours, where you're giving sellers in the neighborhood or owners in the neighborhood the opportunity to see what that home looks like on the inside. Some of them have been curious to see what Susie's house looks like, right? Because they know that the sale of that home is going to impact the value of their home, right? So if that property doesn't sell for a good price, that's going to hurt those people. So they should be very, very interested in seeing this, and you're going to invite them on the Friday, right? So if you're doing it on a Saturday, you're going to go door to door, knocking on their door, say, hey, my name is Bobby Davidowitz. I'm an agent in the area. I'm actually going to be doing a private preview tomorrow from 10 to 12 for the owners in the neighborhood, so that they can see what the sale of that property will mean to them. I'll have some refreshments there, give a chance to look at the property. If you're interested, or if you have friends that are looking to buy in the neighborhood as well, and you want to bring them by, go ahead and bring them by. I'd love to speak to them about the property. So boom, you go around the whole neighborhood, you knock on doors. If they're not home, you leave a flyer on the door, and sure enough, the next day you're sitting there and you've got 3, 4, 5 different owners in the neighborhood that you're actually basically doing face-to-face mini listing appointments with them. But it's not, it's something of value you offered first, right? So they're going to come in and see the home. You're going to meet them. They'll have some refreshments. You'll get to build some rapport with them, and you'll be able to actually speak to them about potentially selling a home. Out of curiosity, what's your address, so I can do some lookups for you? Would you like me to do a property assessment on your property to see what the value would be, what the market would pay for your property? Right? So you can offer all sorts of things of value to them and get a chance to basically build rapport with them, because that's it, guys. Face to face is everything, right? So, any chance you get to go face to face with potential sellers or potential buyers, or pretty much anybody who is a high level person, that experience will not be wasted. You will get business from it. So this was just a quick video kind of explaining, the seller's open house. I've mentioned it to you guys, but I wanted you to have a little clear understanding of that. So once again, look for a vacant house in a neighborhood you like. Call the listing agent up, tell them that you're going to be doing multiple showings from 10 to 12 the next, on Saturday, or whatever it is that you're going to do the thing. The night before, the evening before, go door knocking in that neighborhood with a flyer, inviting owners to this owner's preview that you're going to be doing from 10 to 12 the next day, with refreshments, and then put something in the flyer explaining to them what they're going to get from coming to the house. Maybe they get a free home evaluation. Maybe they get, obviously the report of how the sale of that home is going to affect them. And I'm telling you guys start doing this consistently every weekend if you don't have an open house, and you'll get business from it. Hope this helps, guys, and I'll talk to you soon.